Welcome to New York Mets baseball. Participating advertisers are the F&M Schaefer Brewing Company. Come into the Schaefer Circle, you'll find a great beer every time. Manufacturers Hanover. All banks aren't the same. At Manufacturers Hanover, it's banking the way you want it to be. Chevrolet and your neighborhood Chevrolet dealer invited you to test drive the first Chevy of the 80s, Citation. And McDonald's. Visit your neighborhood McDonald's and see for yourself. Nobody can do it like McDonald's can. Today, the New York Mets are playing the San Francisco Giants here at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Bob Murphy with Ralph Kiner and Steve Albert, greeting you this afternoon from Candlestick Park in San Francisco. We have an unusual day in San Francisco because it has been raining all morning. However, the ground crew has removed the cover. It's not raining at the moment, and it looks like the game will start on time. Last night we said on the air the Mets had never been rained out in San Francisco, and in checking back through the archives, that's not true. They were rained out here one time back in 1967. So it looks like we'll have our ball game today. Had the game been rained out, it would have been a doubleheader right here tomorrow afternoon. But they have removed the cover, and it looks like we'll get away on time. Now, the starting pitchers in the game today, for the visiting team, the New York Mets, it will be right-hander Craig Swan. Craig will be going for his 4th win of the year, and it's his 2nd start against the Giants. He shut the Giants out at Shea Stadium in New York with a brilliant performance. For the Giants today, it will be a young left-hander, Phil Nastu. Now, he was called up to the Giants when John Montefusco recently went on the disabled list. He is considered the brightest pitching prospect in the minor league organization. He is a young man with a lot of talent out of Bridgeport, Connecticut. So, Phil Nastu for the Giants, Craig Swan for New York. The final game of this series tomorrow, a day game, and we'll be joining you with our television coverage on Channel 9 at 4 p.m. Following the game tomorrow, the Mets are going to Dodger Stadium for a 4-game series. Next weekend, they're in San Diego. Then they go to Pittsburgh. They're back at Shea Stadium in New York. On Friday night, the 18th of May, they will open their homestand against the St. Louis Cardinals. Right now, let's check out the lineups and the batting orders for today's ball game as the ground crew completes their task of rolling the tarp up against the sidewall and getting it out of the way. The lineups in the game today for the New York Mets, Frank Taveras will be at shortstop batting leadoff. Alex Trevino again is playing third. Richie Hebner out 4 games in a row now. He has been having problems with his back. He does feel much better. If the weather had been good today, he might have been able to try it. Lee Mazzilli in center field, batting third. Steve Henderson has been hitting the ball hard, so Joe Torre moves him from the number 7 spot into bat cleanup today. Willie Montañez will be at first base hitting number 5. Joel Youngblood in right field hitting 6th. John Stearns had a 9-game hitting streak stop last night. John will catch and bat 7th. Doug Flynn will be at second base batting 8th. And the pitcher, right-hander Craig Swan, looking for his 4th win of the year. Now for San Francisco, managed by Joe Altobelli. This very pleasant-looking character is from the Ice Volley show performing in San Francisco. For San Francisco, Billy North, and he's wielding a hot bat in center field leading off. Terry Whitfield will be in left field hitting 2nd. Jackie Clark in right field batting 3rd. Darrell Evans playing 3rd, batting cleanup. Mike Ivey at first base, number 5. John Tamargo will catch and bat 6th. Roger Metzger at shortstop hitting 8th. Hitting 7th. Rob Andrews at second base batting 8th. And the pitcher, Phil Nastu, will be hitting 9th. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here at Candlestick Park, the crowd will be rising for the presentation of our national anthem. And the anthem today will be sung by Stafford Iver from Sonora, California. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed broad stripes and bright stars through the paradise. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Our national anthem sung by Stanford Eye-Bear of Sonora, California. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and Channel 9 and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and Channel 9 is prohibited. The Giants have now won 3 in a row. They have taken the first 2 games of the series. Last night it was Neil Allen against Vida Blue, and it was quite a ball game. The Giants took the lead early in the game, 3-0. The Mets rallied, tied the game 3-3, and the Giants got what proved to be the winning run in a 4-3 win in the last of the 8th inning when Roger Metzger tripled to right center off Skip Lockwood. Lee Mazzilli, after a long dash, got it on the fingertips of his glove, but hit the fence, bounced off, could not hold it. And then on the relay from Doug Flynn to third, the ball got by Lockwood, who was backing up the play, and the winning run scored. And one note about that for those of you who keep score of the ball games, at the time of the play, an error was given to Doug Flynn. When the game was over, Skip Lockwood went to the official scorer and said, "I think the error belongs to me. I did not get in proper position to back up the play." So the scorer did change it, and the error has been charged to Skip Lockwood, and I thought it was a nice gesture on the part of Skip. Now Lee Mazzilli will meet at home plate with Vida Blue. These are the umpires, and Bill Lawson, the National League signee, will be working behind home plate. Mazzilli has been bringing the lineup card out every day for the New York Mets since the second day of the season. It's Bill Madlock, not Vida Blue, who brings the lineup card out for San Francisco. Vida Blue last night became the first National League pitcher to win 5 games. Vida now is 5-2 on the year. It has been raining all morning, but the rain has stopped for the moment. However, we have a very heavy overcast, and the weather forecast does call for rain throughout the day, with heavy rain tonight. But if things stay as they are at the moment, we'll be able to get the ball game in. The scorecard being studied, the lines are being marked, and a moment we'll be ready to go. The ground crew did have quite a bit of work to do because it rained a lot. But rainouts are rare indeed in San Francisco. They have averaged less than 1 rainout per year. 21 years of baseball, they've had 17 rainouts. The Mets have been rained out 1 time here, and that was back in 1967. In the National League this afternoon at Wrigley Field in Chicago, the Cubs playing in the friendly confines, and they are really tough at Wrigley Field, leading Atlanta 9-0 at the end of 6. This is a very sad day for the Atlanta Braves and for all of baseball. For the 43-year-old general manager of the Atlanta Braves, Bill Lucas, passed away this morning. He suffered a massive cardiac a few days ago, and all of us have lost a good friend in baseball and an outstanding young man, Bill Lucas. He will be missed. So it is without a doubt a game the Braves are playing with a very heavy heart today at Wrigley Field in Chicago, having lost their general manager, Bill Lucas, this morning. So the Cubs lead that game 9-0 at the end of 6 with Dennis Lamb pitching. In the National League tonight, Houston will be at Cincinnati. Tom Seaver had to leave in the second inning last night. His back is bothering him. Pittsburgh will be in St. Louis. The Phillies are at Dodger Stadium, and Montreal plays in San Diego. Guess who's going to throw out the first ball? All right. Delightful character is from the Ice Folly show. Now let's check out the San Francisco Giants defensively. The blonde at number 15 is Mike Ivy playing first base. At second base, number 21 is Rob Andrews. The hero of the game last night for the Giants, Roger Metzger, the veteran shortstop. And Darrell Evans, number 41, is playing third. In left field, Kerry Whitfield, and he has been just red hot. The center fielder is Billy North. He's also been hot. And around in right field, young Jackie Clark, who had a sensational season a year ago. The catcher is John Tamargo. Giants got him from the Cardinals in a trade early last year. And on the mound from Bridgeport, Connecticut, left-hander Phil Nastu. N-A-S-T-U. Graduated from the University of Bridgeport. Opened the season at Phoenix and was called up by the Giants when John Montefusco was placed on the disabled list. Of Montefusco, they now say it will be at least 3 weeks before he can start to throw again. Pat Zachary had planned to test his arm today in San Francisco, but with the bad weather, Joe Torre canceled that. And the Mets now will wait until they get to Dodger Stadium to have him try it. Joe Pignatano coaching at first base. And on the lines at third is Chuck Cottier. The leadoff hitter in the ball game will be Frank Taveras. Frank is hitting .230. Nastu opening the game with a fastball, 1 ball and no strikes. And the on-deck batter for New York is Alex Trevino. Alex is playing third base. And a call strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. Giants snapped an 8-game losing streak in Philadelphia. Now they've won 3 in a row. That's low inside to Frank Taveras. 2 balls and 1 strike. Frank Taveras and Lee Mazzilli both have 7 stolen bases. The Mets are a running ball club this year, running far more than they ever had before. High and tight. So it's 3-1 on Taveras, leading off against Phil Nastu. For Nastu, it is his second start since being brought in from Phoenix. Started the game against Philadelphia, worked 4 innings. Called, it's 3-2. Now the plate umpire today is Bill Lawson, and he is a National League signee. He's a very deliberate umpire with his calls. Ground ball to Darrell Evans at third. Now to Mike Ivy at 1 man away. So 1 out and nobody on, and here's Alex Trevino, and Alex is hitting .429 on 3 for 7. He played third base last night in the absence of Richie Hebner, and he had 2 for 3. He drove in 2 of the 3 runs scored by the Mets off Vida Blue. Alex Trevino, just 21 years old. Nastu with a curveball. Lee Mazzilli is on deck. Phil Nastu is 24. It is his 3rd year in pro ball. First 2 years in the minor leagues were very good ones. And a pop-up down the right field line. Ivy is going after it. Andrews, the second baseman. It drops. It's a base hit. It dropped in among the crowd. The right fielder, Jackie Clark, the second baseman, Rob Andrews, and the first baseman, Ivy, all are angling on the ball, Steve Albert. And I think everybody was surprised when this one dropped in.
3 people converging on this, Bob, and I think the infielders thought that Clark was coming after it. Everybody said, you got it, no, you got it, and the ball fell in.
On the replay, it looked like Andrews, the second baseman, ran by it. Then he had no chance. So it'll look like a line drive in the box score, as they say. It's a base hit for Trevino. Here's Lee Mazzilli. Lee trying to fight his way out of a batting slump. Now is hitting .286. Lee is still the club leader in RBIs with 13. We are just underway in San Francisco. Nastu missing inside low. There was a time this past winter when it appeared that Nastu might wind up pitching for the New York Mets. The Mets instead wound up with Jesse Orozco, and they couldn't be happier. Orozco has just been marvelous so far. For the Mets to get Nastu, it had to be one of those three-cornered trades. With Nastu going to Minnesota, and then from Minnesota to New York with Jerry Koosman going to the Twins. Full foul. Mazzilli goes after a curveball. And Mr. Albert, the sun is trying to poke its way up.
Boy, it looked bad there for a while. Earlier today it was raining very steadily. They had the covering on the field, took it off, and the sun has popped through it. Did not look promising before.
Plans had already been made for a doubleheader tomorrow if they had been rained out here today. The Giants, by the way, haven't been rained out in 3 years. Last time they were rained out was '76. And a ground ball to Darrell Evans. He goes to second. They've got one on the first double play. Around the infield, 5-4-3 for the double play. Good breaking ball by Nastu made it possible. No runs, one hit, none left. In the middle of inning one at Candlestick Park, the Mets nothing, and the Giants are coming up. Now here's a word from Schaefer Beer. Here's the defensive look now for Joe Torre's New York Mets. Willie Montañez playing first base. Doug Flynn is at second. The shortstop is Frank Taveras. And Alex Trevino is filling in for Richie Hebner at third. Steve Henderson in left field. Lee Mazzilli, the center fielder. Joel Youngblood around and right. John Stearns will work behind the plate. And Craig Swan in quest of his fourth win of the year. April 25th at Shea Stadium, Craig Swan pitched the finest game of his career, a two-hit shutout against the San Francisco Giants. He had to struggle in winning his last ball game, but he hung in there and won it against San Diego 4-3. So Swan, who won only one game the first half of last year due to a lack of support, is going for his fourth here this afternoon. Billy North will be leading off, and he has been hot. He was ice cold until a week ago, and then all of a sudden his bat sprung into action. Billy North had 2 for 3 and 2 walks last night. He has a 5-game hitting streak, and he's batting .274. North, a switch hitter. And did he go through? Checking it out. Strike call by the third base umpire, Jim Cuneo. Jim Cuneo, a local umpire, working at third. And the on-deck hitter is Terry Whitfield, the left fielder. An idea about bunting, 1 ball and 1 strike. Last year, Larry Herndon was the center fielder for the Giants, but Billy North played out his option with Los Angeles and signed with the Giants. It is high and away, 2-1.
North has a tremendous on-base percentage. He's up to .402, and he has 10 hits in his last 18 at-bats. That is something.
Swan goes behind him, 3-1. Sometimes Swan will really struggle with his control the first 2 innings of the game. He gets by that first couple of innings, and he settles into a good groove. Ball 4. So the speedster of Billy North is on with a walk, and he can really fly. A few years ago with the Oakland A's, he stole 75 bases. Whitfield is the batter. Whitfield is hitting .337 and leading the Giants in RBIs. He has almost as many RBIs as he had the first half of last year. And a smash, base hit going into right field. Billy North will stop at second. And Whitfield is sizzling. Terry Whitfield might very well be one of the best trades the Giants have ever made. They traded an infielder, Marty Perez, to the Yankees to get Terry Whitfield, and we'll see it again.
Terry Whitfield extending his hitting streak to 5 straight games as he hammers it into right field. Joel Youngblood gobbles it up. But now the Giants threatening right off the bat in the bottom of the first.
It brings to the plate Jack Clark, the right fielder. Jackie Clark hit .306 a year ago, and he's hitting .275 right now. So Craig Swan confronted with a problem here in the first inning of the ball game. Pickoff play. Close, but not in time. Taveras handling the throw. Runners on first and second, nobody out. First inning of the ball game, no score at this moment. And a strike called on the inside corner. The on-deck hitter is Darrell Evans, the third baseman. First 2 games of the series, McCovey was the cleanup batter. Curve missing. Lifetime against the Giants, Craig Swan has won 4 and lost 4. Swan is one of the real hard-throwing pitchers in baseball. You can clock his fastball in excess of 90 miles per hour often. There's one, but it's high. Skies are overcast again. People who live here will tell you that when you do have a rainy day, it rains for a while, the sun will pop out, and then it'll rain some more. The runner's going. Billy North. Line drive down the left field line and fair. Base hit into the corner. Billy North will score. Whitfield will go to third. And into second with a double is Jackie Clark. The Giants off to a flying start. Billy North was stealing third on the pitch. And Jackie Clark lined it down the left field line into the corner for a double. His 15th RBI as we check it out on a replay.
So it's the second straight hit off Craig Swan. And Jack Clark comes up with double number 6 on the year. As Steve Henderson corralled it off the corner. So a runner's in. It's now second and third for the Giants. And a long ball hitter is at the plate.
Darrell Evans, the batter. Runners on second and third and nobody out. Inside and low, ball 1. What a rocky start for Craig Swan. Cleanup batter Darrell Evans hitting .253. And a smash foul down the right field line. First base umpire Roy Roth had to duck under that. Nobody out, 1 ball and 1 strike to Darrell Evans. And a fastball high. 2-1. Mike Ivy, number 15, the on-deck batter. Giants have moved into third place in the National League West. Inside. Now, if he walks Darrell Evans, he'll be pitching to Ivy, a strong hitter with the bases loaded and nobody out. Evans a power hitter. He probably will have a green light right here on 3-1. He does. Ground ball hit to shortstop. Taveras bobbles the ball. A run scores. Throw to third. Safe at third. So an error charged to Frank Taveras. An easy ground ball hit right at him. Looked like he might have taken his eye off of it to see whether or not he was going to fire the ball home, although it looked like he was looking for the play at first base all the way as we check it out on a replay.
Well, that is the second error in 2 games charged to Frank Taveras. Just could not find the handle. He rushed it, then he fired it down to Alex Trevino, but everybody was safe as Whitfield scored to make it 2-0 Giants.
I would imagine the official score will give Evans an RBI. No way of knowing whether he planned to come home. I don't think he did. I thought he was playing to first all the way. The batter is Ivy. Foul ball back. Still nobody out, and 2 runs have scored. Giants lead 2-0, and they have runners at first and third. Number 30 on deck is the catcher, John Tamargo. It was an RBI for Darrell Evans, his 13th. fouled off the bat of Mike Ivy. Ivy has not been playing of late. He was in a slump. He's had a bad shoulder. Shoulder doesn't really bother his hitting us as much as it does his throwing. But Willie McCovey played last night. Willie's now 41. So when possible, Joe Altobelli lets McCovey sit out a day game following a night game.
Put that up there.
Off the outside corner, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rugged start for Craig Swan. He beat this ball club on a 2-hitter his last time against him. So far, he's faced 5 batters, nobody out yet.
Hey, is that yours?
Struck him out. Swan with a high hard one fans Mike Ivy 1 down. And John Camargo will be coming up, and we'll take a look at this high hard one by Swan. You know, a lot of people get nervous about going to a bank for a loan. If you're one of those people, go to Manufacturers Hanover. It's one bank that wants you to have your loan as much as you do. John Camargo, the batter. Camargo is a switch hitter, and he's batting left, ball 1. 2 runs have scored. A walk, a single, a double, and an error. And a high infield pop-up. Willie Montañez calling for it. He has it. So Camargo is out, 2 down. And the hitting star of last night's game, Roger Metzger, comes up. Roger's now 31 years old. Giants are using 2 shortstops, Roger Metzger and Johnny LeMaster. LeMaster is the young player. He's 24 years old. And right now, LeMaster will play against left-handers, and Metzger will play against the right-handers.
I'd like to find out what kind of vitamins these guys have. Look at Metzger, and you look at LeMaster. They don't weigh very much. They're very wiry, but they can hit the ball.
Fastball high. Last of the 8th inning last night, Metzger laced a long triple. He hit it about 400 feet to right center. And came on in to score when the throw coming in from the outfield got loose with a run that won the game 4-3. Foul back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Number 21 is Rob Andrews. He's playing second for Bill Madlock today. Metzger was always among the leaders in 3 base hits the 8 years he played short for the Houston Astros. It's kind of understandable in the Astrodome. Foul back. In the Astrodome, where they have the AstroTurf and a lot of room in the outfield, he runs very well. He hit those line drives in the gap, and they would become 3 base hits. But the one he hit last night, Steve, it was a power hitter type job.
Mazzilli said, thank goodness it was a fence. It was resilient, not a wall. Curve inside and low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jackie Clark is on third. Darrell Evans on first, 2 men away. This first inning must seem like it's a day long to Craig Swan. There goes Evans. And a high foul ball wafted out of play. Darrell Evans was running on the pitch. He comes back, and the count is 2-2. Fouled again down the left field line and over in the stands. The Giants have been drawing very well, and they would have had a very large crowd here today except for the bad weather. They've been averaging almost 30,000 per home date. They're about 85,000 ahead of last year's big figures. And it's in the air to short right center. It may drop in. It does for a base hit. Clark comes in to score. Evans goes to third. Now the Giants have a 3-0 lead. So Metzger has a hot bat. He's hitting him long and he's hitting him short. This one he bloops into short center field, a Texas Leaguer. So we'll check this out on the replay, and this is the kind the hitter is happy about. Well, we've seen some well-hit balls. This one, a lightly hit ball that fell in front of Mazzilli. Flynn overrunning. Jackie Clark coming home to make it 3-0 Giants.
And the struggle in the opening inning continues for Craig Swan. Rob Andrews is the 8th man to bat in the inning. He's played very little so far this year. Madlock is the regular second baseman. Andrews 3 for 6 on the year. Fly ball hit the right field. Youngblood will be under this. And he makes the catch. Carried deeper than Joel thought it would. So 8 men came to bat. The Giants scored 3 runs. There were 3 hits, 1 error, and 2 men were left on. At the end of 1 inning, the Giants 3 and the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover. We have a light rain with us once again here in San Francisco, and the umbrellas are popping open. Beautiful design on that umbrella. Almost like a kite. Very light rain at the moment, so the game will continue. Steve Henderson will be batting against Phil Nastu. Nastu signed out of the University of Bridgeport, Connecticut by the Giants' Dutch Deutsch. His first year, 2 years ago, he was 10-2 at Cedar Rapids and 6-2 at Waterbury. 16-4 his first year in minor league baseball. Last year he was 9-8 with Phoenix and got into 3 games, including 1 start with the Giants late in the year, and was 0-1. Phil Nastu. Steve Henderson moved into the cleanup spot by Joe Torre. Cleanup position has not been productive so far this year. Henderson has his bat going again, so Joe Torre moves him in, especially against left-hand pitcher. Slow curve, strike 1 call. Hitting number 5, Willie Montañez. And it's fouled off. And Steve Albert, it's only natural, the way they give you nicknames in sports, that if your last name is Nastu, N-A-S-T-U, what are they going to call you?
I think the same thing they'd call Illy Nastasi right now.
Nasty. He throws a lot of off-speed stuff. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Looks kind of sinister with that mustache.
So many times a young pitcher working his way up will get a break because an established star comes up with a sore arm. Slow ground ball to second base. Rob Andrews playing to Mike Ivy, 1 down. 1 out and nobody on. It brings to the plate Willie Montañez. I think there's about as many baseball players wearing mustaches as those who don't. About a standoff.
A lot of them on the Mets. I can think of Alex Cordino and Willie Montañez.
I never saw anybody who could grow a beard as fast as Pat Zachary. The hitter is Willie Montañez. Willie batting just 160. Fastball, strike 1. Left-handers do give Willie Montañez more trouble than the right-handers. Last year against the lefties, Willie hit 228. Slider missing outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Glenn Hubbard hit a 3-run homer for Atlanta in the 7th at Wrigley. Cubs lead Atlanta 9-3 going to the 9th inning at Wrigley Field. Inside and low. 2 balls, 1 strike. The on-deck batter is Joel Youngblood. High pop-up on the infield. Mike Ivy calling. The ball almost disappeared in the overcast. 2 outs and nobody on. Nastu off to a good start. Youngblood will be hitting. Joel has hit safely in 11 of the last 13, batting at .340. 4 home runs and 11 RBIs. In the American League, the A's and the Yankees 4-4 in the 9th in New York. The Red Sox lead Seattle 6-4, 7th inning at Fenway Park. Freddie Lynn is at number 10. Former Southern Cal star off to a super start. And a strike call. Youngblood has hit left-handers like he owned them so far this year. Foul ball, and this will be out of play. That was John Stearns waiting on deck. Giants lead 3-0, and we're in the second. Kansas City 3, Cleveland nothing. Last of the 8th inning in Cleveland. Milwaukee 6, Toronto nothing. The 8th inning in Milwaukee. The Bird, Mark Fedrich, started today. Went 4 innings. Pitched all right. That's way inside. Detroit leading Minnesota 6-4, the 8th inning in Minnesota, and Fedrich pitched the first 4 innings. And a high pop fly into short center. Billy North with plenty of time. So Phil Nastu is keeping the hitters off strike. No runs, no hits, none left. At the end of an inning and a half at Candlestick, the Giants 3 and the Mets nothing. Now a word from Chevrolet. Giants logo. Some interesting views here at Candlestick Park. Before they closed in the open end of the stadium, you could look out over the bay. Aircraft carriers would be docked there. That view is now gone. And there you can see the seats in right field. This is a great ballpark for a left-hand hitter and a great park for a left-handed pitcher. There's the center field area that they closed in. Phil Nastu faces Craig Swan, last of the second. Fastball, strike 1. Happy birthday to Tom McKenna, the veteran trainer of the New York Mets. Strike 2. Tom McKenna has been around a long time, and he is an outstanding trainer. The Mets in their 18 years have had 2 of the very best who have ever been in professional sports. First it was Gus Mott, and then Tom McKenna. Gus now retired in Florida. Foul back.
And that ace impresario, Richie Hebner, led the New York Mets in happy birthday to Tom McKenna in the dressing room before the game. There's a good look at Tom.
There's Tom sitting right there. That takes care of Phil Nastu. 1 away. Second strikeout for Craig Swan. We go to the top of the batting order for Billy North. He reached on a walk and later scored in the first inning. He's raised his batting average over 100 points in the last week. Now hitting at .274. Well, they've put the umbrellas away. Ground ball whacked to short. Taveras will have to throw this one hard. And it's there in time to get Billy North. 2 outs and nobody on. Terry Whitfield comes up. He's the talk of the town in San Francisco right now. Batting .343. 2 homers, 17 runs batted in. Tomorrow, the final game of the series, Kevin Coble will make his first start. Bob Knepper will be his mount opponent. That's way inside, ball 1. How close did this come? Watch it. He knows how to jackknife away. Hit toward the middle and into center field, a base hit. So Whitfield is 2 for 2. Baseball is such a wonderful game for a hitter when he's in a batting streak. You can't wait to get to the ballpark and get your turn at bat. Now here's Jackie Clark. He lined a double into the left field corner, driving home Billy North in the first inning. Much attention was paid to Pete Rose last summer, but this young man, Jackie Clark, hit in 26 straight. Call, strike 1. There he goes. Swing and a miss. And stolen base for Terry Whitfield. Stearns had to reach into that glove a second time. And when you do that, you lose any chance you might have. So check it out on the replay, Steve.
Terry Whitfield with a head-first dive. And for Terry Whitfield, that is his second stolen base.
So he puts himself into scoring position, and the batter is Jackie Clark, a 2-strike count. High fly hit the right center. It's deep. Youngblood and Mazzilli are after it. Mazzilli makes the catch in deep right center field. No runs, one hit, a man left. At the end of 2 at Candlestick Park, the Giants 3, the Mets nothing. Now here.
80.
The third inning and the bottom third of the order coming up against rookie Phil Nastu from Bridgeport, Connecticut. Let's return to Shea Stadium Friday night, the 18th of May. And on the next homestand, the St. Louis Cardinals, Chicago Cubs, and Pittsburgh Pirates are all coming into New York. And on Saturday, May 19th, second game of the homestand, it will be Lee Mazzilli poster day at Shea. And the following weekend, with the Pirates in town, it'll be jacket weekend for that Saturday and Sunday, the 26th and 27th. John Stearns batting .239. John had a 9-game hitting streak stopped last night. Ball 1. On the corner, a strike call. 1 ball, 1 strike. The on-deck hitter is second baseman Doug Flynn. Nastu continuing that assortment of slow breaking pitches. 2-1. We have our first final score of the day. The Cubs defeated Atlanta 9-3. Dennis Lamp the winner, Bill Niekro the loser. Ground ball, foul. Toward the hole, base hit to right field for John Stearns. Second hit of the game for New York, and this is a leadoff single. Generally speaking, when a team scores runs in baseball, they get that leadoff batter on base. The percentages are much, much better to get runs when you can get that first man up on. Now here's Doug Flynn. Doug, with 13 hits this year, has 12 runs batted in. Inside low, 1 ball and no strikes. Overcast skies and a threat of rain. And a ground ball going through the hole, a base hit for Doug Flynn. And now the Mets have something working. Runners on first and second and nobody out on back-to-back singles by John Stearns and Doug Flynn. It will bring to the plate Craig Swan.
Best part about that is the fact that Swan can now be in a bunting situation, so you can use the pitcher as a productive measure here.
Craig Swan coming up. Craig's had 3 hits and 16 times at bat. He'll probably be bunting right here. Leadoff batter Frank Taveras comes up next. Now the Giants set up. Ivy starts moving in. He swings away, and a fly ball to right field. Jackie Clark goes back, has it misjudged. He makes the catch. Stearns tags up. He'll go to third. And that wind, although when you check the flags, you don't see them moving around that much. The wind must be carrying that ball pretty well to right field. It almost completely fooled Jack Clark to the point where he couldn't catch it. Watch it again.
And also on this play, the shortstop was charging, covering at third, with the third baseman coming in. It's called the rotation play, so they had Swan hit away, and he does a job of moving a runner over to third where he can score on certain outs.
Runners at first and third. Frank Taveras, the hitter. Frank was out on a ground ball to third his first time up. That's trying to get on the board. Giants lead 3-0, third inning. Ball one. John Stearns on third. Doug Flynn is on first. Foul tip, no play. The people who live here will tell you that when you have cloud cover, it holds the wind down. The windy days are the clear days. Might have been that Clark just had trouble picking it up.
I think that might have been it. It's been a little bit glary out here, and there has been some difficulty.
1 ball, 1 strike to Frank Taveras. Bill Nastu pitching for the Giants. And a line drive caught by Andrews. No double play. Well, Taveras hitting it hard luck. Hit it hard, but right to the second baseman, Rob Andrews. This is when you're hitting it hard luck, Rob.
Ball is well hit. Good base running by the Mets, as neither one could be doubled off on the good catch and good play.
Here's Alex Trevino, the 21-year-old third baseman catcher. Richie Hebner missing his 4th straight game with a bad back. Taken high, ball 1. Trevino did a good job for Joe Torre last night. Had 2 hits, drove in 2 runs. He was signed when he was 16 years old. Recommended by Nino Escalera. Ground ball to shortstop. So Metzger goes on to first to the side retired. Mets threatened but did not get on the board. No runs, 2 hits, 2 were left on. In the middle of the third inning, the score. The Giants 3, the Mets nothing. There's an umbrella purchased by a very considerate person. You can look right through that umbrella and not miss the ball game. Yes, a light rain is falling once again. Forecast in San Francisco today, rain off and on all day, and heavy rain tonight, but it should be all right tomorrow.
You know what they call this rain? They call it a mist. It missed Oregon and hit California.
Line drive, base hit to right by Darrell Evans. He had a hanging curveball, jumped right on it, and Evans has singled to right. Evans got an RBI on a ground ball. He hit the shortstop in the first inning. That's 5 hits for San Francisco. And the hitter is Mike Ivey. Ivey has taken over the job that Willie McCovey held down for so many years. He went into a slump, though, and McCovey got back in and had been hitting the ball well. Ground ball foul down the third baseline. This is that soaking type rain. This keeps going like this, Ralph. By the time this game is over, that infield will be very hard to move around on.
And it is natural turf.
I'm happy to see natural turf back in San Francisco. I, for one, like the game better on grass.
I'll join on that.
Good fastball by Craig Swan. Look at this pitch. Forget it. Rain's coming down hard now. Fastball inside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. This is the hardest the rain has fallen since the start of the ball game. The way it was raining around 10 o'clock this morning. And a half swing, Trevino hurrying in. And the throw is there in time. Alex Trevino tossing out Mike Ivy on the slow roller. So one away and a runner on second, and the hitter will be switch hitter John Tamargo. Giants traded a pitcher, Rob Dressler, to the Cardinals early last year to get John Tamargo to bolster their catching corps. Their number one receiver is Mark Hill. He's been taking some medication and missing a couple of games. Fastball high. Ralph, the Mets have been rained out here only one time, but I remember one second game of a doubleheader when it poured down after 5 innings. John Matlack will never forget it. 2 balls and no strikes.
I believe it was called after 6.
Mets lodged a protest. High foul ball wafted back toward the stand. Stearns a long run. No play for John. There is an awful lot of room in foul territory in this ballpark, and that can really be a plus for the pitcher. Well, it's nice of the Giants to have the welcome mat out. Mike Strauss of the Times, Mark Everson of the Post, Jack Lang of the Daily News, Steve Marcus, Dan Castellano, and the rain is coming down. I don't know how to act when it rains in San Francisco. Swan with a count of 2-1 on Tamargo. Foul ball. He hit that one hard, far back up into the seats, but he was way out in front.
They've only had 2 games rained out in the month of May out of 17. They started playing here in 1958.
Last time they were rained out was 3 years ago, about this time in '76. Ground ball toward the hole. Montañez now will go to Swan, and Craig is there. That takes care of Tamargo as Evans crosses over to third. Doing away, a runner on third, and the shortstop Roger Metzger comes up. Metzger drove in a run with a Texas League single that dropped into short center field in the first inning. And he got the hit that led to the winning run last night. They're going to put him on. He's hot right now. Rob Andrews, a right-hand batter, is on deck, so Metzger is getting an intentional walk. This will be the second walk by Swan. He walked Billy North in the first inning.
A lot of people think that they should have automatic walks. Don't make the 4 pitches, just say, okay, put him on first. But a lot of base hits have been picked up on intentional walks where a batter would reach across the plate and hit it.
Doesn't happen often, but every now and then, pitcher gets a little bit too close, and that hitter is ready to do it. So here's Rob Andrews, the second baseman, and he hit the ball hard his first time up. He flied out to Youngblood in deep right field. Giants lead 3-0. We're in the last half of the third. Late swing and a foul ball. Following the game tomorrow, the Mets move to Los Angeles. They have 4 single-night games at Dodger Stadium Monday through Thursday. Hit hard to shortstop. Taveras has it. Drops it. A run scores. Taveras had it, and then he dropped it. Second error of the game charged to Frank Taveras, and the Giants have a 4-0 lead.
Looking at it again, it's a well-hit ball, and Taveras makes a very good pickup right there, but I guess he never really had possession of it.
4-0 San Francisco. And the batter is Phil Nastu. He was struck out his first time up. Giants now with a 4-0 lead. And a foul pop-up, moving on the ball, Alex Trevino, and he has it for the third out. So Nastu fouls out to Trevino. The Giants do get a run. It will be unearned on one hit. Final score at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees, with a run in the last of the ninth inning, defeated Oakland 5-4. And Tommy John became the first 6-game winner in Major League Baseball. The veteran southpaw now is 6-0. Dave Haberlow lost in relief. Mickey Rivers hit a 2-run homer. The Red Sox lead Seattle 8-4, last of the 8th inning at Fenway Park. Kansas City 3, Cleveland 2. They're in the last of the 9th in Cleveland. Milwaukee's Jim Slayton won his third of the year. The Brewers outscoring Toronto 6-1. They beat Dave LeManchuk. Home runs in the game by Ben Ogilvy and Rico Carty. California at Baltimore, a night game. Detroit leading Minnesota 8-4, and the game is in the 9th inning in Minnesota. One other National League ball game. It is over at Wrigley Field. The Cubs defeated Atlanta 9-3. Lee Mazzilli facing Phil Nastu in the 4th inning. Foul ball upstairs, no play. Inside and low. 1 ball and 1 strike. And a strike called on the inside corner. Nastu again throwing off speed. He throws a lot of slow stuff.
For a young pitcher, he really does use the changeup quite well. He's done it quite a bit to Mazzilli. Also Henderson.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled off the mask of John Tamargo.
That mask will save the features, but that's a pretty good jolt even though you have the mask on.
And a pop fly to shortstop. Easy play for Roger Metzger, and Mazzilli is out. Lee is 0 for 2. It will bring up Steve Henderson batting cleanup. Giants 4 runs on 5 hits. New York no runs on 3 hits. Steve out on a roller to second base his first time up. Steve hitting .274. And we see the fastball for a strike call. He hit one long drive to the almost to the fence in right center last night that Billy North caught. He holds in time. Then after Metzger hit the 400-foot drive in the 8th inning that led to the win, Henderson said afterwards, I was embarrassed to see that little fella come up there and hit one farther than I could. He jammed him, and it's popped up a foul ball. Ivy with plenty of room. So he has popped up both Mazzilli and Henderson. 2 outs and nobody on. Willie Montañez will try his hand. Willie was popped up his first time at bat in the 2nd inning. it's a funny day. One moment it'll be raining, and the next minute you have sunshine. Right now, it's looking good again. Outside to Montañez, ball one. Line to the air to center field, hustling in, Billy North. Oh, he can't hold on to it. Beautiful try by Billy North, the center fielder. He had it for a moment, and when he hit the grass, it jolted loose. It'll be a base hit for Willie Montañez, and this is quite a replay to take a look at.
He misjudges the ball to start with. He thinks it's hit farther than it is, so he breaks back. Now he starts in, and even though he got a very late start, he almost catches up to it.
Fourth hit for New York. Here's Joel Youngblood. Joel hitting .333. He skied to center his first at bat in this ball game. Giants 4, Mets nothing, fourth inning. Blocked by Camargo. One ball and no strikes. Mike Ivy holding against Montañez. Taken inside by Joel Youngblood. Red Sox have blown their ball game open in the eighth inning at Fenway Park on a 3-run homer by Jim Rice. Well, Rice only his third of the year. Freddie Lynn, his teammate, has 10. Red Sox out in front at least 11-4. Full foul. 2-1. Final score in Cleveland, the Kansas City Royals edge Cleveland 3-2. Rich Gale gets his first win. Rick Wise, the loser. 7 errors in that game. Royals made 3. The Indians made 4. Foul tip. This young pitcher, Phil Nastu, really keeps the hitters off their timing with that assortment of slow pitches. Change-ups and slow curves. He makes you supply your own power. Ground ball, base hit to left. He got a fastball to hit. Montañez will stop at second. So Youngblood has singled to left. 5 hits in the game for New York, and it will bring up John Stearns. John, batting .250, hit a ground single into right field in the third inning. Two outs and 2 on. Line drive, base hit down the left field line, and Montañez around third is coming home. Youngblood, who can fly, goes to third and holds there, and Stearns goes into second with a double. The Mets are on the board on a run-scoring double by John Stearns. John getting his 8th RBI of the young season, and now one more hit, Ralph, and they'd be back in the game as we check out the replays.
Stearns holding up his hands like that. I think he thought maybe Youngblood should have scored, but they didn't know that Whitfield was going to throw back wild to second base. The throw was fielded by the first baseman, so that might have been the question John was asking. Here comes Joe Altobelli, who makes a lot of trips to the mound.
Altobelli was named the manager of the year in the National League last year. He'll accomplish a couple of things here. He'll go out and talk to his pitcher. He will kill some time, and he'll get his bullpen going. I believe he'll get Tom Griffin up in the bullpen in a moment. So Tom Griffin, number 43, starts to loosen up. And Joe Altobelli, who managed very successfully for many years in the minor leagues, particularly for the Orioles in Rochester with the Red Wings, is on his way back to the dugout. He's now in his third year as the skipper of the Giants. And last year, he became the talk of baseball when his Giants got out in front in the West. First base is open. Let's see what they do here. Flynn, the batter. And they're pitching to him, and it's low ball one. First base open, but they are pitching to Doug Flynn with Craig Swan on deck. 2 men away. Fastball, letter high, a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. Might very well be that Joe Torre would go to a pinch hitter if they had walked Flynn intentionally, because he has Jesse Orozco getting up. Runners at second and third, 2 down. That's low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Joe Torre has Jesse Orozco throwing in the pen. So if they had intentionally walked Doug Flynn, Torre probably would have gone to a pinch hitter for Swan. Giants lead 4-1. Outside. He may have to make that move anyhow. The count is 3-1 now to Doug Flynn. Three hits in a row for the Mets here in the 4th inning. And a strike called. It's 3-2. Flynn flied to right his first time up. Doug hitting only 194, but he has 12 RBIs, only 1 behind the club leader, Lee Mazzilli. It's 3-2 to Doug Flynn. Foul ball out of play. Phil Nastu, his second start since being called up from Phoenix. And a foul ball. Flynn hangs in there in his battle here against Phil Nastu. Joel Youngblood is on third and John Stearns on second. 2 men away, 4-1 San Francisco. Ground ball to shortstop. Metzger with a long throw to Ivy, and that retires the side. So Nastu gets Doug Flynn. 1 run, 3 hits, and there were 2 left on. In the middle of the 4th inning, the score, the Giants 4 and the Mets 1. And now a word from Schaefer Beer. Those who are members of the New York Mets baseball family were certainly saddened with the loss of Tommy Holmes' mother, who passed away recently. After the game today, Father Joseph Dispenza will be saying a special mass for her. Many of the players will be on hand. To Tommy and his family, all of us send our very best. Billy North faces Craig Swan in the last of the 4th inning. They go to the 9th inning at Fenway Park, Boston leading Seattle 11-4. The Yankees scoring in the 9th inning beat Oakland 5-4. Tommy John won his 6th game. Kansas City 3, Cleveland 2. Milwaukee over Toronto 6-1. Fastball high. Billy North has drawn a walk and bounced to short. He is hot. right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike. Billy North is a switch hitter. Over the years, he's done better batting right-handed. 2 high. 2 balls, 1 strike. Swan getting behind on Billy North, 3-1. Three and 2. Little waiting game here involving Craig Swan and Billy North. Giants scored 3 runs in the first. They added an unearned run in the third. He walked him. So Billy North, he's Mr. Speed on the Giant ball club, goes down to first. Third walk by Craig Swan. Time is being taken, and Rube Walker is on his way out to talk to Swan. We'll be with you with our television coverage tomorrow on Channel 9 at 4 p.m., the final game of this series. Kevin Coble makes his first start of the new year. Kevin sprained an ankle the closing days of spring training and just recently came off the disabled list. His opponent will be Bob Knepper. After the game, the Mets are going to Los Angeles. 4 games, 4 single games, Monday through Thursday night against the Dodgers. Next weekend, they'll be in San Diego playing Roger Craig's Padres. Close the road trip against the Pirates in Pittsburgh. Back at Shea Friday night, May 18th with the Cardinals. Swan will work hard here on Billy North. He has already stolen 7 bases this year. Bunted foul, strike 1. Terry Whitfield has 2 for 2, and he's hitting .350. Giants traded infielder Marty Perez to the Yankees to get Terry Whitfield. And Whitfield has done an outstanding job for the Giants. Whitfield is a crowd pleaser with those head-first slides, and he'll dive for balls to the outfield. Billy North is running. The throw by Stearns. They may get him out at second base. Beautiful throw by John Stearns, and Frank Taveras puts the tag on Billy North, and the second base umpire, Tony Patch, quickly moves into short center field to get away from an argument, the way any good umpire would do. Watch this throw by John Stearns. Throwing against the running speed of Billy North, and the timing could not be better. Good tag by Frank Taveras. Hit down the left field line, foul by Terry Whitfield. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Whitfield leading the Giants in batting and leading the Giants in RBIs. Moves him off the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. High fly hit the left field. Steve Henderson cruising in. So they get Whitfield out, 2 men down. Jack Clark doubled home run in the first inning, and he flied out deep to Mazzilli in the second.
Look at both. They had a field here.
Just inside, 1 ball, no strikes. 4-1 Giants, and we're in the 4th. Foul ball. Back toward the stands. A little bit high by Craig Swan. 2 balls and a strike to Jack Clark. Yankees got a run last of the 9th, beating Oakland 5-4. Tommy John won it. Foul back. Vida Blue became the first 5-game winner in the National League when he won here last night. Tommy John has become the first 6-game winner in the majors. Towering fly, well hit to left center, but in play. Henderson and Mazzilli converge. Mazzilli at the side, retired. No runs, no hits, none left. At the end of 4, the score at Candlestick Park. The Giants 4 and the Mets 1. And now a word from... We go to inning number 5, and our new broadcasting partner, Steve Albert, is off to a great start, getting his first good look at a ballpark he's heard a lot about, Candlestick Park. What do you think of it, Steve?
Well, I'm ready. I don't know, the weather hasn't been that bad, really. It's been pretty nice. It was raining earlier today, but these guys keep telling me it's going to be cold. I got my sweater on. Been perspiring for 2 days. But it's nice today. It's good. We're ready for some more baseball here at Candlestick Park. It's nice now. Craig Swan to start off the top of the 5th for the Mets, who trail 4-1 here at San Francisco. And the first pitch is a ball. It's pleasant. It's not cold, I'll tell you that much. It's not much of a breeze right now. And the next one is outside, 2-0. Swan is 0 for 1. He flat out in the 3rd. And he's behind now. Nastu 3-0. I'm sorry, it's 2-1. That was a strike. Got to wait on this guy, Bill Lawson. He takes his time calling balls and strikes behind the plate. Two and 2 now. Swan had a fly ball to right in the 3rd that really played tricks on Jack Clark. Clark finally flagged it down. 2-2 pitch by Nastu. This could be trouble. Nastu makes the play. So Craig Swan is out of there. And that'll bring up the shortstop, Frank Taveras. Taveras having a rugged day in the field. He's made 2 errors. He is 0 for 2 at the plate. Grounded out to 3rd in the 1st and lined out to the 2nd baseman in the 3rd. Pitch by Nastu. Here's Rob Andrews. Boots it. And Taveras is safe. That will be an error on the 2nd baseman, Rob Andrews. Now Taveras handcuffing Andrews. Decided to hold on to the baseball. So here is Alex Trevino, who has looked impressive, making his 2nd start at 3rd base. Richie Hebner is still out with a bad back. Trevino had a couple of hits, including 2 RBIs last night. He's 1 for 2 this afternoon. Whoa, he's out! Taveras is caught. Oh, brother. Phil Nastu put a move on Frank Taveras. Pignatano and Taveras are going to argue now. The first base umpire is Roy Roth. Here comes Joe Torre out of the dugout. Joe Pignatano really having it out with the umpire, Roy Roth. Nest, who picked off Frank Tavares. Last night, Vida Blue picked off a couple of Mets. Tavares got picked off last night as well. Let's see how it looked. Here's Ivy on the receiving end. Awfully close. Very close. Tavares arguing immediately. Now Joe Torre picking up the argument with Roth. So Frank Tavares is wiped out. It has been a long afternoon for Mr. Tavares. And Torre makes the long walk back to the Met dugout now. Let's see if we can check out how close it was. I tell you, it could have gone either way. So Alex Trevino will step back in there. There's no count on him as of yet. So there are 2 away now in the 5th. It's 4-1 Giants. 1-0 to Trevino. Alex Trevino from Monterrey, Mexico. Hitting at .429 in his brief action. 1-1 to Trevino. 2 out, top of the 5th. That's trying to stop a 3-game losing streak. Way up high, and it's 2-1. Phil Nastu, the 24-year-old rookie out of Bridgeport. Looking for his first Major League victory. There's the 2-1. Well hit ball. It's a fair ball. Boy, Trevino has been ripping. He rounds first, heads for second. Whitfield lost his footing. He's going for third. He's held up by Chuck Cottier as Evans tries to tag him out, but Trevino is safe. A 3-base hit for Alex Trevino. Trevino really ripped it down the third base line. Now watch as Terry Whitfield had all kinds of trouble. Fell down. Made a good recovery. Trevino storming around second base. He was already to third before Whitfield even picked up the ball. He had to really hustle back before Evans applied the tag. So it's a 2-out triple for Alex Trevino. That is his 4th hit against Giant pitching in 2 games. And the batter's Lee Mazzilli 0 for 2. It's 4-1 Giants. High ball 1. Mazzilli hit into a double play in the 1st and popped out in the 4th. Hitting .279. Nice play by Darrell Evans. He's out. Lee Mazzilli is robbed by third baseman Darrell Evans. Watch this move by Evans. And he made a good recovery after he made the great play. He gets up and makes a good throw, and Ivy stretching to get Mazzilli. So for the Mets in the top of the 5th, no run hit. An error and 1 man left on. And the score in the middle of the 5th, the Giants 4, the Mets 1. And now a word from Oakland. Well, isn't it always the case? The man who made the last great play to end the inning is the batter. Here's what he did defensively. Darrell Evans with Trevino at third, robbing Lee Mazzilli. Evans takes a hard swing at strike 1. Darrell Evans is 1 for 1. Reached on an error in the 1st, singled and scored in the 3rd. 1-1 on Evans. When he scored, he made it 4-0. Flynn goes out. Youngblood comes in. He makes the call. 1 out. Well, the first Chevy of the 80s is here. The 1980 Chevy Citation. with room for 5 and front-wheel drive. Test drive Citation today and see why it's a whole new kind of compact car. Mike Ivy, the batter now. We're in the top of the 5th. The Giants ahead 4-1. Ivy is 0 for 2. He struck out swinging in the first, bounced out to third in the third. Fouled out of play, and it's strike one. Ivy is batting at .215. He is starting his first game against the Mets in this series here at Candlestick. Willie McCovey played the first 2 games. And it's 1-1. High pop-up. Montañez in foul territory. And there are 2 away. So with 2 out here in the 5th, that will bring up the catcher, switch hitter John Tamargo. Batting from the left side against Swan. He's 0 for 2. He popped out in the first. Bounced out to Montañez in the third. Tamargo batting at .188. And it's strike one. Craig Swan looking for his 4th victory, his 7th start of the year. 4-4 against the Giants' lifetime. Off speed. And 1-1. Held up, and they call it a strike anyway. So it's 1-2. Fouled off just to our left. And the count holds 1-2 on John Tamargo. We've seen all 3 catchers in this series. Mark Hill, Mike Sadek, now John Tamargo. Line drive foul. Really took something off that. It's up high. And it's 2-2. Mazzilli is after it. And he got a good head start on it, so there are 3 away. Fast inning for Craig Swan. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on after 5 full innings here at Candlestick. It's the Giants 4 and the Mets 1. Now here's a word from Shep. Well, here's our site at Candlestick Park. In the broadcast booth. Looks kind of lonely, huh? We're going into the top of the 6th. And the Giants ahead 4-1. Griffin throwing in the Giant bullpen. As Phil Nastu completes his warm-ups, it'll be Steve Henderson, Willie Montañez, and Joel Youngblood. Chicago beat Atlanta this afternoon 9-3. Everything else in the National League is under the lights. So here's Steve Henderson now to lead off the 6th with the Mets down 4-1. Henderson is 0 for 2, bounced out in the 2nd and fouled out in the 4th.
Perfect.
Steve batting at .271.
On camera. They don't tell him.
Phil Nastu on the mound. It is through for a base hit. So Steve Henderson jumps on the first pitch by Nastu and lines a single to right. So the leadoff man is on first, and Willie Montañez, the batter. Montañez singled and scored in the 4th. He popped out in the 2nd.
experience with Carson.
Willie trying to break out of the drastic slump. Batting 168. There's 4 doubles, a home run, and 3 RBIs. Henderson being held by Mike Ivy over at first base.
I'm getting my agent.
And it's strike 1.
And with those hard smashers, it's Billy Moffett. I should say Randy Moffett throwing in the bullpen. Randy is the brother of Billy Gene King Moffett. Billy King. Great tennis player. 1 strike to Kent. Billy Gene Moffett King. Chopped out toward the shortstop, picked up by Evans, and the throw to first base in time for the out that retires the side. But the Mets tie it, scoring 3 runs on 4 hits, leaving 1. And the score at the end of 6.5 innings, it's the Mets 4 and the Giants 4. And 1 man left on base. And the score at the end of 7, it's the Giants 6 and the Mets 4. Coming up, Joel Youngblood, John Stearns, and Doug Flynn. And now a word from Chevrolet.
Chevrolet demonstrates the room in the 1980 Chevy Citation.
It's the first Chevy of the 80s.
There is mid-size room for 5 adults in Citation.
The first Chevy of its kind.
With the back seat down, Citation has room for 30 bags of groceries and 2 adults.
This could be the car you had in mind.
Take a Citation demonstration drive today. It's a whole new kind of compact car.
Chevy Citation.
Willie Mays belongs to a very special circle, the Schaefer Circle, because he knew that being great, you were up there, even before the rookies, pounding that baseball up.
We're going to the top of the 8th. The Giants back on top with 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th. They're leading by a score of 6-4, and for the Mets, it'll be Joel Youngblood to lead off. Paid attendance here this afternoon, 6,960, and the rain this morning keeping the crowd down. New catcher in the ball game is Mike Sadak. Giants are about 45% ahead of last year when they had a tremendous season. Last year they drew 1,740,477, about 1 million more than in '77. Their all-time high was 1960. When they opened Candlestick, they drew 1,795,356. So at the pace the Giants are on now, they'll break their all-time record. They have drawn 318,925 with the crowd here today. And it's Youngblood smashing one down to Evans, who turned in one of the most spectacular plays earlier in the ball game, and now taking a hard smash and throwing Youngblood out. Harold Evans turned in some play on Lee Mazzilli, taking a 2-base hit and a run batted in away. This play not as spectacular, but also a difficult play. Look at it again. The catch the hard part. From now on, he's got all the time in the world. So Gary Lavelle, who gave up the 2-run home run to Lee Mazzilli, now back on top. And a lot of people wonder if that's fair. Lavelle came in with the Giants leading 4-2. He gave up a 2-run home run that tied the game at 4-4 and kept Phil Nascu from coming up with a possible victory. And with the game tied at 4-4, he now becomes the winning pitcher on the 2-run home run by Jack Clark. But that's the way it is. This is John Stearns popping it up on the first base side, and Mike Ivy makes the catch, 2 men away. Stearns had been 2 for 3 before the out, so he's 2 for 4 for the day. And that will bring up second baseman Doug Flynn, who has a base hit and 3 times up. Mets have hit the Giants 12-7, but the Giants lead 6-4. And the fastball for a ball. 2 balls, no strikes. If Flynn gets on, we'll have a pinch hitter for the pitcher. Strike call, 2-1. And it's 2-2. Flynn did not like that call. His last time up, he got a bad call. Or at least he thought he got a bad call. Kept him from walking. And he goes after the low pitch, probably figuring that he's afraid to take it. Fouls it, the count stays at 2-2. One of the things you look for as a hitter is consistency. And every umpire is individual. They have their own idea of the strike zone. And if they're consistent, you know that certain pitches will always be called the same. And that gives you a chance as a hitter. But if they're inconsistent, you have no chance. And it's grounded slowly out to Ivy at first. Lavelle covering at first base, and he gets there in time. And now it's Flynn in an argument with the first base umpire, Roy Roth. Also there, Joe Pignatano. Big argument. Pignatano trying to keep Flynn in the ballgame. Here comes Joe Torre. And that's a second tough call against the Mets at first base by Roy Roth. In the inning, a 1-2-3 inning. And Flynn trying to be restrained here as Joe Torre takes up the argument. The score at the end of 7 1/2 innings. It is the Giants 6 and the Mets 4. Coming up for the Giants, Rob Andrews, Gary Lavelle, and Bill North. And now a word from Manufacturers Hanover. We're going now to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Giants leading 6-4. They had the lead at 4-0 after 3. The Mets got 1 run back in the 4th to make it a 4-1 ball game. Then tied it with 3 runs in the top of the 7th. With the game tied at 4-4, the Giants got 2 on a 2-run home run by Jack Clark. It was Lee Mazzilli's home run with a man on that tied it at 4. But Clark untied it with his 2-run home run, his 4th of the year. Mazzilli picking up his 3rd of the year. And now for the Giants, it'll be Rob Andrews to lead off. Andrews playing second base today is 0 for 3. And Jesse Orozco working his second inning. He gave up the home run to Clark. He gets a strike. And it's in foul territory. Stearns back. But it's out of reach and out of play.
There's a lot of room here in foul territory behind home plate. Well, that time Stearns just ran out of it. Right into the screen.
That really does help the pitchers, because there are a lot of balls that would normally be into the stands foul that are caught in this ballpark. That's an effect on the pitchers to their advantage. Andrews batting .333. 3 hits and 9 times up this year. Playing in place of Bill Madlock, who was not in the starting lineup. Madlock in a big hitting slump. 2-time National League batting champion. Batting at .156 so far this year. 2-2 the count to Rob Andrews. And a full count, 3-2.
They call Madlock Mad Dog. He's playing like a little puppy right now at the plate.
Boy, he can bite, though, when he gets hot. 3-2. And ball 4. Roscoe walks his first batter here in the 8th inning. That will bring up the pitcher, Gary Lavelle, and he'll be in a bunting situation. Going out the mound. Mets have action going in their bullpen. Bernard throwing again in the bullpen for the Mets. So Rube has something to say to Jesse Orosco, and now back as Orosco faces a bunting situation by the pitcher Gary Lavelle. And it's bunted foul. Lavelle has not had an official at bat so far this season.
He looks more like an accountant than a pitcher.
Boy, he accounts for some good relief pitching, though. And it's a strike call. Good curveball by Orosco. Runner at first base, no one out. That one too low. Before you got here, Steve, the Mets had a ball player by the name of George Theodore, who was the least likely looking Major League ball player I think that I ever saw.
What did he look more like than a baseball player?
He looked like he was put together by a committee. And the pitch low and inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He had a very strange build, but you know, strangely enough, he was not a bad ball player. And if he hadn't been seriously hurt in the outfield and also got hit in the head, he might have turned out to be a good player.
Well, you look at guys like Johnny LeMaster and Roger Metzger together, they don't outweigh Willie McCovey.
And it's bunted successfully. The sacrifice will work as Andrews goes on down to second. So with the count at 2-2, Lavelle sacrifices, and the Giants have a runner at second base with 1 man out. And that will bring up the center fielder, Bill North. North has walked twice, otherwise he's 0 for 2. He has been a hot batter. He's had 10 hits in his last 20 times up, and he's raised his average from 197 to 267. Batting from the right-hand side against Orosco, and he's considered to be a better hitter right-handed than left. Left-handed in the series, he's been 4 for 7.
Now that looks like a baseball player.
Good curveball. 1-1. Mets are very pleased with Orosco. He's only had 1 year of very little experience. He's not afraid. Ground ball to the shortstop, Taveras, and a lot of white showing, but he holds on to it and a throw to first base for the out. Crossing the third is Andrews. So a runner at third with 2 men out. And Terry Whitfield, the Giants' leading batter, coming up.
Orosco attributes much of his success, Ralph, to a gentleman named Rusty Fairley, who is Ron Fairley's brother, who was his coach over at Santa Barbara Junior College. He's very influential.
Whitfield batting .347. And the curveball fools him at strike 1. In this game, Whitfield 2 for 3, and he also was hit by a pitch ball when Orosco came in the game in the 7th and was aboard when Jack Clark hit his 2-run home run to put the Giants on top 6-4. And with that batting stance, there was a time when Whitfield used to tip off when he was bunting. He would have the heel on that front foot toward the pitcher on the ground, and when he hits normally, it would be off the ground. Ground ball foul. 1-2 the count. Whitfield at one time played for the Yankees. Stearns out to the mound to say something to Orozco. If you look ahead to the top of the ninth when the Mets will be batting, their leadoff batter will be a pinch hitter, and then the scheduled hitters Frank Taveras and Alex Trevino, followed by Lee Mazzilli, who tied the game with his 3rd home run of the year in the 7th, and saw it untied by Jack Clark with his 4th home run. Fastball in tight, 2-2. Good pitch. Hit inside to set up your curve. There's the curve, but he didn't get it over. 3-2. On deck batter Jack Clark. And he misses again with a curve, and that's ball 4. And that's all for Jesse Orozco. Manager Joe Torre going out. He wants to go to the right-hand pitcher Dwight Bernard with the right-hand batter Jack Clark coming up.
Well, this is the first time I can really remember Orozco getting himself into trouble. He gave up the 2-run homer by Jack Clark, which put the Giants ahead 6-4 after the Mets had tied it up on a 2-run shot by Mazzilli in the top of the 7th.
So Bernard will come in the ballgame, and while he walks in, we'll use the opportunity to check out the scoreboard. A lot of American League scores, one in the National, and here's Steve Albert to bring us up to date.
All right, Ralph, that National League score, the Chicago Cubs clobbered the Atlanta Braves 9-3 at Wrigley Field as Dwight Bernard makes his way to the mound. The winning pitcher was Dennis Lamp, the starter. He's now 3-0. The loser was Negro. He is now 3-5. He started the game for Atlanta. 9-3 Chicago. Martin homered along with DeJesus, Foote, and Hubbard. Now at Cincinnati, the Reds have come up with 4 runs in the bottom of the 2nd. They lead Houston 6-0 after 2. Andujar against Hume. Elsewhere, Pittsburgh is at St. Louis, Philadelphia at Los Angeles, and Montreal is at San Diego. Over in the American League, the Yankees came up with a run in the bottom of the 9th to nip the A's 5-4. Tommy John 6-0. Everlow came on in relief in the 7th. Lost it. He's 2-1. 5-4 Yankees over Oakland. Boston clobbered Seattle 11-4 at Fenway Park. Dennis Eckersley, the starter and winner, he's 3-1. Odell Jones, the starter and loser, he's now 0-2. Freddie Lynn hit number 10 in the 1st with nobody on. Jim Rice hit number 3 in the 8th with 2 men on. 11-4 Boston over Seattle. Kansas City got by Cleveland 3-2. 7 errors in that game. Kansas City committed 3. Cleveland committed 4. KC won it 3-2. The winning pitcher was Rich Gale. He is now 1-2. Rick Wise, the loser, he's 3-3. Al McRae hit one out, his 3rd and the 5th with nobody on for the Royals. At Milwaukee, the Brewers beat the Blue Jays 6-1. Dave Lemancic, the loser, he's 2-2. Jim Slayton, the winner, he's 3-1. Ogilvie and Carty with home runs. And Detroit beat Minnesota 8-4. We're ready to go with Dwight Bernard on the mound. Once again, here's Ralph.
Okay, Steve, and Jack Clark steps into the batter's box. He's driven in 3 today, 1 with a double, 2 with a home run, and Bernard tosses over to first base, and Terry Whitfield back. It was a calling card type of toss. Runners at 1st and 3rd. 2 men out here in the bottom of the 8th, and a strike call on the curveball. Clark, a strong hitter. And ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Clark's home run was a high drive to left field. Batting with runner at 3rd, a runner at 1st. And it's ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Bernard in his 12th game. There's no wins, no losses, no saves. Harris out to the mound, and Bernard will pick up the final out here in the 8th as he tosses over to first. A successful job by Dwight Bernard. In the inning, no runs, no hits, 2 walks, 2 left. And the score at the end of 8, it's the Giants 6 and the Mets 4. Coming up for the Mets, it'll be a pinch hitter, Frank Taveras and Alex Trevino. Now here's a word through here as he came in the ball game. Gave up a 2-run home run that saw the Mets tied at 4-4, and then saw Jack Clark put him on the plus side with a 2-run home run after Mazzilli's. And he'll be working to Kelvin Chapman as his first batter. Kelvin, the pinch hitter for Dwight Bernard. It'll be Kelvin Chapman, Frank Taveras, and Alex Trevino. And that is Herndon out in center field, replacing the starting center fielder, Bill North. So Larry Herndon taking over in center field. Chapman was a pinch hitter in this series and got a base hit. He broke an 0 for 21 string with his base hit. Now batting for the second time against the Giants. He's hitting 167. And he has a built-in rooting section here. And he grounds it out to Evans, who bobbles it, but he has time. And he gets his man at first. So 1 pitch and 1 out, and the Mets down to 2. Their last 2 outs. Batter coming up is Frank Taveras. Say, watching the Mets is a perfect way to enjoy Schaefer beer. Schaefer is brewed to taste great every time. Beer after ice-cold beer. Don't you deserve a beer that good? So come into the Schaefer Circle. This is Frank Taveras. Frank looking for a base hit. He's 0 for 4. And if he can get on, the Mets will have the time run at the plate. And it's foul. Fielded by Chuck Cartier, the third base coach of the Mets. Former Major League infielder. Miss with that fastball. 1-2. Tomorrow it'll be Bob Nipper for the Giants against Kevin Coble. Coble's first start. This one is out of play, foul. Mets have out hit the Giants 12-7. Stayed alive. Taveras keeping the count at 1 ball, 2 strikes. And again a foul ball. Paid crowd here today, 6,960. The Giants came into this game with a record of 12 wins, 14 losses. In third place, 4.5 games out. Trailing Houston by 4.5 and Cincinnati by 2. Leading San Diego by 1 game. And a fly ball to Larry Herndon in center field. And the Mets down to their last out. And we'll bring up one of the hitting stars of this ball game, Alex Trevino, who's had 3 hits and 4 times up. And he's also driven in a run. Trevino with a single in the first, a triple in the 5th, and a single for a run batted in the 7th. Trevino now batting .545. And the fastball a strike. Lee taking that pitch all the way. He has to get on for Lee Mazzilli to be the time run at the plate. Strike 2, and now Gary Lavelle a strike away from ending the ball game. Fastball misses, 1-2. want that pitch, so he wants another set of signs. Gets him from his catcher, Mike Sadak. Struck him out, and the ball game is over. So the Giants prevail as Gary Lavelle picks up the victory. It is his second this year. Struck him out with a curveball. And that was the first strikeout by Giant pitchers in the ball game, but a big one as it ends the inning with the Giants winning by a score of 6-4. A 1-2-3 inning for Gary Lavelle. We'll be back with a wrap-up in just 1 minute right after a word from Schaefer Beer. Well, on a day that started off with rain falling and then finally coming to a fairly good conclusion as far as the weather's concerned, as the sun did break through, it was the Giants prevailing out here by a score of 6-4. The Giants got off to a very fast start. They came up with 3 runs in the first inning. One of them was unearned. A walk to Bill North, a single by Terry Whitfield, putting runners at first and second, a double by Jack Clark. A run was in, and then an error on the shortstop, Frank Tavares, and another run scored. And then the final run coming across on a blue pit to center field by Roger Metzger. Giants got another run to make it a 4-0 ball game on another error by the shortstop, Frank Tavares. Then the Mets got one back. It was driven in by John Stearns, a double down the left field line, scoring Willie Montanez, who had singled from second base. The big part of the ball game for the Mets is when they got back into the ball game with 3 runs in the 7th inning to tie it at 4-4. One of the runs driven in by Alex Trevino playing at third base, and the other 2 driven in when Lee Mazzilli hit a 2-run home run off of Gary Lavelle. That tied it at 4, but then Jack Clark came up to untie it when he had a 2-run home run to put the Giants in front by a score of 6-4. First batter that Jesse Orozco faced in that inning, the 7th inning, was Whitfield, and he was hit by his first pitch. And then with Jack Clark up, on the first pitch he moved out to bunt and took the pitch for a ball. Next pitch he bunted foul, and then there was a conference at the third base side between the third base coach and Jack Clark. Right after that, the next pitch, a fastball, was hit over the left field fence as either Clark missed the sign or they switched their strategy. So it was the Giants prevailing. The winning pitcher was Lavelle. He's now 2-0, and the losing pitcher was Jesse Orozco. His first loss in the major leagues, his record 1-1. Paid crowd was 6,960, and the game was played in 2 hours, 38 minutes. Giants now have won 4 straight, and the Mets have lost 4 in a row. Tomorrow it'll be Kevin Coble on the mound for the Mets, the final game of this series here in San Francisco. Bob Knepper will be going for the Giants. Coble has a record of no wins, no losses. Knepper has a record of 2 wins and 2 losses. In the Schaefer Met Player of the Year award, Alex Trevino got 4 points for his 3 hits and 1 run batted in. Lee Mazzilli got 2 points for his 3rd home run of the year and 2 runs batted in. And John Stearns got 2 points for 2 hits and 1 run batted in. So the final score here in this ball game, it was the Giants 6 runs, 7 hits, 1 error, 9 left. The Mets 4 runs, 12 hits, 3 errors, and 7 men left on base. The Giants 6, the Mets 4. Participating advertisers